Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies. Doom Eternal has launched, which I probably won't play, but I have friends that are excited about it, and I must say it's very entertaining to watch. Does anybody else find it oddly coincidental that the plague ravages our land and suddenly this apocalyptic game is launched and the hell priests are practicing social distancing? On the nose a bit. In any event, here we are with more on the nose gameplay. Ozymandias absolutely shrekking that first enemy airplane in his first of many close encounters of the 420 kind. He is going to blaze his way through a few enemy airplanes today in a British boy that is very effective in the head-on and has a reputation of having a good climb rate and probably not a whole lot else going for it against these Teutonic terror rotorface, whatever. Airplanes, BF-109, F4F'd good in the head-on once again as Ozzy picks up his second kill. That 109 focusing on the wrong place at the wrong time. Focke-Wulf 190A heads up, and in the spray and pray, the advantage goes to the British lad. Third kill in quick succession as one after another the enemy underestimates Ozymandias' forward-facing firepower. Now, finally, a fourth enemy encounter, once again in the head-on. A pasta boy with no excuse, a spaghetti man who could have used his great mobility to shake loose Ozymandias, and yet instead he goes for the head-on, and they both burn and die. Ozzy picking up his fourth kill. Now, Derptenk will get an incredible number of kills in this match against AI ground targets, and yet Pillbox is very effective at draining the enemy of victory points. I always thought that it was ironic they're called victory points when actually they're more like defeat points. I don't know. Maybe you would call them, I mean, I would just be really lame and call them like unit points or something like that, because well, they don't really lead to victory now, do they? They lead to defeat when they are depleted, and that is exactly what Derpy Boy is focusing on here in his Attacker 26, one of the not so hidden gems in the American tech tree. I'm starting to see more and more of these in the skies. The incredible brace upon brace of 50 cals, a face of brace along with guns in the wings and not in short supply, even capable of carrying gun pods with more 50 cals for your mama's dear delight, as everyone enjoys the sound of those guns in the game of War Thunder, especially after, and this being before, the sound improvements, the sound updates to War Thunder that have come by the score, over, away, and by update 197 and before. We're not going to see a lot of anti-aircrafting here, in fact probably nil, which gives Derpy Boy in his Attacker the perfect opportunity to show why the Attacker is still a viable option in ARB, if not the most viable, at least vital enough to have a life of its own apart from the fighter on fighter, the air superiority fighter on everything combat that goes on outside the main, in the mainstream of War Thunder, and a stream of 50 cal ammunition shredderizing and perforating everything inside that enemy pillbox. already up to 8 ground kills, many of them earning points toward an allied victory as this American attacker does what it does best, the attacker, the daka-dakaing everything he sees on the ground. Another thing you don't want to do is face this airplane in a head-on with its high velocity spray and pray fortitude, but again, this is going to be about the ground strike. It's always nice to have clear skies for a while in your attacker, and I highly recommend, if you're getting tired of the typical air RB experience, dogfighting, climbing, boom and zooming, all of that jazz that can be a lot of fun and often is, but can also start to get stale sometimes, then might I recommend that attacker lifestyle. You spend a lot of time moving around at low altitude trying to keep your guns on target, and you do get shot down quite a bit, but there are ways to avoid that. A Derptenk, thankfully getting good air cover from his allies today, is able to ignore the primary hazard that comes with flying an attacker, and that is enemy fighters above you and thinking of you, and just harvest victory points. If you look at the score bars, the red team bleeding out after round of attack runs by this very capable attacker whittles away their victory points. Sorry, I haven't really woken up all the way this morning. I'm always tired when I'm making a video. I'm either just waking up or just about to fall asleep because in every other scenario, the girls own me and they make the most of the opportunity, I assure you. The rest of his team joining in on the ground pounding. It is not ground and pound, that is a wrestling term. Ground pounding is what those who fly accomplish in any event. Where was I going for this? Maybe not wrestling, maybe it's MMA, but it's probably both, to be honest. But that's it. This is how you win as an attacker. You get cover from fighters and you just blow stuff up. I know! It's like simple fun. In War Thunder? Heresy. Tiny German, here to erase all that is heretical in this, I forget the name of this French aircraft, but listen to the sound of those 7.7 machine guns. So delightful. Rapid firing, high velocity rifle caliber machine guns that can actually hit fairly hard within around half a kilometer range, which is exactly where Tiny German finds himself. But of course, machine guns are never going to have the punch that a 20 mil has, and it takes, what would you say, around 400 rounds to finally set that key 43 co a fuego, and yet that is exactly what he accomplishes. And with 2 quick kills in this curt video, our hero has already set a good precedent for himself, but he will on to even more perturb the enemy, even unto the end. BF 109 diving on him, but at a lower speed. Tiny German clearly has the turning advantage. The 109E performing a nice boom and zoom maneuver, now zooming away after having not gotten the gun convergence he wanted to get the boom. Tiny German assessing his targets. The H whatever number, I can't quite read that if it's a 6K or an 8K, but the Japanese Navy plane bombers, float plane bombers, can be quite tanky and derpy as well. And at this point, I'm not sure what Tiny German is doing. He just changed heading, and now he's heading off in a straight line. God knows where. I suppose we're about to find out. And now, with the 109 diving on him, it's time for Tiny German to maneuver, and such he accomplishes neatly, taking just the barest of a lick, of a whiff, of a hint, of a smell, of a hit from the 109's machine guns, and returning fire with an extended burst. He can't quite find the target that he's looking for. Now going into a rolling over loop. This, what would you call it? I suppose it's something of a rolling scissors. Tiny German easily getting inside. The 109 no longer using his energy advantage or his energy retention to his advantage, gets taken down by the superior turning French fighter. What I would consider a bad call on the 109's part. He had every advantage in that fight, and he spent his energy on rolling maneuvers, which you don't want to do in a 109. A7, he won. A German Heinkel, very capable fighter, especially in the vertical at low tiers, good at the boom and zoom gameplay, decent energy fighter, and with a better turn rate than the BF 109, even under Japanese colors. It excels as an energy fighter, but once again, another pilot using those rolling maneuvers that just don't conserve your energy well, giving Tiny German the opening he needed to spray down his enemies. So what do you want to do in a boom and zoom or energy fighter like the two aforementioned foes who found their fate at the hands of Tiny German? You want to, and this might seem a little bit crazy, but start with an energy advantage, which they did. Dive on your opponent, not too steeply, mind you, and you will know when you have dove too steep, because you will stove your face into the ground. Maybe even cut back on the throttle depending on your speed, but you dive on your enemy, you shoot at them, that's the boom, hopefully getting the kill, and then you zoom away. You do not engage in rolling scissors in front of your enemy. You want to pull up, pull up. In any event, you may already be aware of that, but it's surprising how many people will fly these energy fighters like they're a turn fighter. But I suppose that's all part of the learning process. C202 Barbecue for his 5th kill. Tiny German performing nicely in this little French lad. And that's going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope to see you in the next one. Discord link in the description below. I encourage you to come connect with me there, as well as sending in your own replay files. And one thing I wanted to mention before I wrap things up here is that I'm thinking about releasing a bunch of videos that I recorded a while ago, so I'm basically going to try and release more videos than normal until I get caught up to the current time. So hopefully you all enjoy that, and if you feel like talking me out of that, then I'm happy to hear your comments on the Discord or the video itself. Anyway, catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.